Man, our rookie got 35 points in 7 games, and it took your rookies 42 games. Nanny, nanny, boo, boo. Welcome back to the DLLS Wings podcast. I am your host, Erika Day. I'm joined by Kevin Gray Jr. and obviously Bobby Karalla. How the heck are you? We had a little bit of technical difficulties getting in here. I heard Bobby make a good joke about how it's kind of a good metaphor for the wing season. So it's kind of fitting that it happens on this show. So thank you guys all in the comments for sticking around and being patient with us and getting this thing rocking and rolling. How the heck are you guys today?
I mean, I feel like we're live on one or both channels right now, on both feeds. So whichever one you're watching us on, hey, how are you?
It's a great day to talk basketball. It's most nights are not good to talk basketball, but the day after games, it's always fun. It's always fun.
Man, I was feeling jazzed about yesterday's game. I mean, personally, as the host of the PHNX Mercury Pod, and as well as this bad boy as well, no matter who won, I was going to come out on top and get to rub it into somebody. And as we've established on Twitter, I'm going to take it easy on you guys because, again, I know that the Dallas basketball fans have just had one travesty after another. And I don't want to attribute to that. I don't want to be a part of the problem. I want to help be a part of the solution. So I bring some positivity to this show today. And I had a little verbal typo as we started the show. I said 42 points. I'm so sorry. I got a little excited. We had some technical difficulties. So I had a little bit of a word salad, but that's okay because y'all already saw all over your social media feeds and probably your ESPN app, WNBA app, that Paige Bueckers 35 points in the loss versus the Phoenix Mercury. And there's only one other rookie that had 35 points and 5+ 3 pointers in a rookie game, and it took our rookie 7 games and the other rookie 42 games. So, a few episodes I was talking my ish about that certain particular rookie, and I've made a few more enemies since then with that particular fan base. So if you're watching, hello. And what's it like to know that this rookie is a hell of a lot more efficient than that rookie and looks just better while doing it? Might not be getting the wins, but the team is going to come around. And so, I'm still feeling optimistic about maybe not the wing season, but at least Paige Bueckers as a basketball player and, you know, what that can mean for the Wings franchise as a whole for years to come.
Hello, Mavs fans. A Luka-like performance from Paige Bueckers last night. 13 of 19 for 35, 5 of 7 from downtown, 6 rebounds, 4 assists. She had, 22 in the first half. I think the part that struck me most was just watching her shot making from every area of the floor, whether it was in the corner from 3, above the break from 3, at the top of the key from 3. She was hitting, floaters. She was hitting, jump shots. She was hitting, scoop layups. Like every piece of her game, of her offensive game, was sensational last night. And, I was watching game 3 of the NBA Finals, but I couldn't take my eyes off of Paige Bueckers because of the sheer just efficiency at which she was playing at. And she was fantastic after missing the last 4 games, with the concussion and the illness. She looked like a player who had not missed a beat and even got even better in her time away. So just a phenomenal stat line from a phenomenal player who we hope is going to have trifecta, a phenomenal career here in Dallas.
Obviously an impressive game total, but she got off to a really great start early. And it's felt like, maybe not in every game that she's played so far, but in a lot of these games so far, feels like she might end the game with 15 or 20 points or whatever on a good night. But a lot of that is coming in the second quarter or third quarter or fourth quarter. She had 22 at halftime. She came out of the gates looking for her own shot, looking to get going. And that's pretty exciting because someone like her who can pass, dribble, play efficiently, we've talked a little bit about her assist to turnover ratio and all that stuff. if she's able to also be a threat right out of the gate as a scorer, then all of a sudden you're forcing the defense to maybe send some extra pressure your way, which could open things up for your teammates. And as a great passer, you can get that going too. But then also, if she has the mode where she can start letting everyone get touches and then she can get her own shot later, like if you're able to do both of those things, then that makes you a pretty complete offensive player, and
Yeah.
she could be that sooner than later.
Yeah, I mean, this was my first time seeing Paige play in person, and you can ask Elijah. I was texting him like, are we serious? You guys get to see this all the time? Like, this is real?" And I mean, she's just one of those players that you just know, this 35 points is just the beginning for her, and only 7 games into her career in the WNBA. I mean, I just think the ladder in which she's going to climb is going to be that of only hers. She is going to be a caliber of player that is new to the WNBA. And yeah, we've had Caitlin Clark, Asia Wilson, Nafisa Collier, a lot of great players come through the WNBA, but Paige Bueckers is absolutely a offensive powerhouse, and she proved it last night. And uh, Kevin, I saw you tweet about the Mercury from 3-point line, and the defense of the Dallas Wings was unfortunately what struggled last night, but the offense seemed to be clicking in ways that didn't exactly happen without Paige Bueckers on the floor. So it left me feeling optimistic for what's to come. I know that this probably doesn't make you guys feel great, but the next team they have to play is the Aces, who aren't exactly playing their best basketball. So maybe a Paige Bueckers 40 ball in Vegas.
Just go for stats. Whatever the record is, just multiply that by 2. Let's just go for that.
Go for what you know. I mean, you're right. Offensively, I mean, Paige kept a minute in the first half, and in the fourth quarter, kept them somewhat close, despite the fact that the Mercury were just bombing away from the 3-point line last night. And I think if you're Paige and you're looking around at not just the offensive game that you had last night, but also having to get others involved and hopefully the execution from others, Erika, I'm talking to you, can get better as the days go on, because as great as a 35-point performance was from Paige, I shouldn't have to get 35 a night from Paige to keep my team within double digits of my opponent that I'm playing in a particular game. So, again, it was just a phenomenal individual performance. I'm sure Paige would have traded the 35 for a dub, but at the same time, she showed exactly what she's capable of when it comes to just the sheer force of her offensive game. Because, I mean, she showed last night she's a 3-level scorer, Bobby. Like, it was in the paint, it was in the mid-range, it was from downtown. It was from every level of the floor, and it was fun to watch.
Her jumper is so quick, too.
It's pure,
especially
too.
Just that mid-range, like that 15, 18-footer. It's like up fake or come off a screen, just like 1-2, go. Like, it is quick. And it normally takes players like many years to speed up their jump shot like that. And when your shot is that quick, like it takes you half a second to get it off, a kind of open shot becomes a wide open shot because no one can get out there to contest it. They might be there, but they can't get their hand up before the ball's already out of your hands going toward the rim. So, that's really impressive. I think ultimately, the goal is never for any player to have their A++ scoring night in order to have a chance to win.
Yeah.
Right. But the goal ultimately, we think possibly it could be potentially, Erika, I'd like to hear your thoughts on this, is for Paige and Erika both to reach a point where maybe they're not going for 35 and 5, maybe they're going for like 22 and 18. Like you're getting 40 from them combined, but a little more balanced to where the defense is kind of like, what do we do? Like one of them's over there, one of them's over there. Where do I go? And then all of a sudden other players are starting to get open, but it really has felt like, I think back to that Chicago game before Paige missed some time. Erika had like 37 and was just on fire, but Paige didn't really get it going. It's like there hasn't been a game yet where both of them are just on it, and that's kind of a bummer.
Yeah, it's definitely seems. I had a couple of Mercury media members talking to me about the sacrifice of Enrique's shot making in order for Paige to make hers, and it is kind of been the unfortunate story of the Dallas Wings this year, where it's one player a game that goes off, whether it's Dejanay or Enrique or Paige, and it never seems to come together fully in a full picture. And so until that happens, like this team is definitely in trouble. There are 12 other WNBA teams, and all of them have multiple players on their team that can score the ball. As you saw last night with the Phoenix Mercury, with a pretty balanced scoring effort from them, most teams in the WNBA have that. And so with the Wings night after night, kind of depending on one person, it's just not a formula success in this particular league.
Yeah,
There's too much talent. There's too
there's too much
you know.
talent. Yeah, there's too many good teams, or there's too many good players, and for a night-to-night basis, having that much reliance, like the usage rate. What I don't want down the road is for her usage rate to continue to skyrocket as the inefficiency of her teammates around her continues to remain as such. And you're right, there's got to be some type of balance for this team offensively, because otherwise trying to depend on one or the other to give you a monster game every night is not only going to be inefficient for the offense, but going to wear down each of these players trying to carry that much load on the offensive end every night.
Yeah, but it just goes back to the thing we talked about, I want to say in the very first episode of the show, and we were also talking about it before the show today too. So many players around the league are going to be free agents after this year because the cap is about to go boom and the league is expanding and all this stuff. And so it's like whatever, I forget the percentage, it's like 80% or 85% of non-rookie contract players are going to be free agents, and many of them will change teams. And so this season really is kind of just figuring out what works and what doesn't. At this point, I mean, you're 1-10. I guess you could still, if you get hot, you can still sneak in the playoffs. But I mean, let's be real. You start 1-10. You're running out of time here already. Learn what works. Learn what kind of players work. Learn what around Paige. What kind of bigs, what kind of wings, what kind of guards. Do you have any of those players? Do you not? If you do, then let's get them. And if not, then let's reconsider. We got Dorothy on the line. Dorothy, do you read us?
Hi, can you hear me?
We can. Dorothy, we're very sad. What do we do?
I know. I'm so sorry. Hi, Mayor. Hi, Kevin. Hi, Bobby.
Hi,
Dorothy,
Dorothy.
we're having a rough time after last night.
Wow. I'm so sorry. I missed the first part of the show, so I'm sure you all have already gone over everything. I don't know. I mean, Paige is back, and she dropped almost a 40 piece, and all the things, and still no dub, still no win. I heard you briefly talking about offense. You're right. We can't just have one person doing all the work. I don't know. I don't know what's happening. Luisa in post game, she had 10 points last night, but she's out of there come Saturday for Eurobasket. But she talked about, um, the Wings not being able to get over the hump. She went in depth with them not being able to get over that hump and then ride that wave to a win and then piece it together for another win the next game. So I think they're trying to figure it out as well. And we keep using the term figure it out. At some point in the season, we're not going to be able to wait on figuring it out because we're what, 1-10 now.
Yeah, 1-10. I mean, you're a fourth of the way through the season already,
Right.
and you're 9 games under 500. What did you observe from last night's game that stuck out to you most, aside from Paige and her performance last night?
Oh, what stood out most to me, the struggles that Aisha Hines Allen is still having. I mean, she started the season, even though there were no wins to come out of her play. Her physicality was there. Crashing the board. She was doing well. I don't know what has happened. The consistency hasn't been there, so that stuck out to me. I'm trying to figure out the tea also with what happened after the game with Satu and Deja. That's another thing. So, Luisa is great. I think she needs to continue to be a part of the starting five when she returns from Eurobasket. She's giving them a little something. Um, I don't know what's happening with. I mean, Erika had what, 20 something points last week, the last home game. I think against the Lynx it was, and then last night struggled. So I don't. I saw all kinds of things, and I was hoping there'd be a win, but we can't continue to. We, meaning the Wings, can't continue to rely upon just one person to provide that offensive firepower like Paige did last night, and then expect to win. Everybody has to contribute.
Well, and Dorothy, do you think there's a solution with the players that are currently in the locker room right now to do what we've been talking about and make it work?
Do I think there's a solution in the locker room?
Yeah, like, do you
Do
think
you
that
mean
the
bringing in
answer
another
to the
player,
Wings
or what
problems,
do you?
yeah, do you think that the Wings problems are solvable with all the pieces that they have in their locker room right now?
Well, that's a really good question. Um, the talent is there. We've talked about it. The talent is there. The experience, even though they've not all played together, there's only three returning players from last year. There's still experience on this roster, and we talk about having that veteran experience. Erika, Dejanay, the championship experience with Maisha Hines Allen, the overseas experience. So all the experience is there, and it's still not adding up. Coach talked about last night post game about continuing to build the chemistry, continuing to get to know each other. Paige mentioned last night getting to know the girls off court a little bit better. So maybe it's just taking a minute. Maybe they're doing all that they can right now, and the fans are the media is the one saying, how come you guys aren't figuring this out? We're 10 games in. What's the problem? Maybe it is going to take a little time. They were a lottery team last year for a reason. I don't know.
That is the truth, right? Like anytime you as a team have the number one pick and get a generational player, you're always thinking, man, we're going to get so good so quick. And then you remember
Hmm.
there's a reason that you got that generational player. It's
Right,
because things weren't great last year. And especially in the W, like rookies can be incredible, but so often rookies
right,
can't just solo carry you. Like you need, because there's so much talent, and there's 13 teams, but there's only 13 teams, so every team has lots of good players. Like you need 4 or 5 good players on the floor at all times in
right.
order to have a chance. You can't just have one or two. Like you need everyone to be really good.
And Bobby, I think you hit it when you said that you can't just solo player a team. And I really, believe that the fan base, everyone pinned their hopes on Paige Bueckers. If that's not popular to say that, I'm sorry. But we got this generational talent, this national championship winning talent, and she is as good. The proof has definitely been in the pudding, and we can see how good she is. But it's going to take more than that. It's going to take more than her.
They need
Yeah, I
everyone.
mean, yeah. They need to be able to put the defenses in binds, and last night they just weren't able to do that because when Paige is
Hmm.
your only person that's able to go off offensively, it puts your
Hmm.
offense in a bind, right? So it definitely puts the Wings as a team in a pretty tough spot, I feel like.
I agree. I don't know what the answers are right now, other than continuing to give them time to. It's a cliche now. It's a the catch-all phrase, but figure it out um, at some point. And like I said, Louisa talked about it a lot last night, where she kept saying we can't get over that hump, and whatever that hump is, I don't know, but I still believe that once they do, if they can string together, guys, two wins, and then a third, I mean, the tide can change.
They need a vibe shift,
This hasn't
KG.
happened.
Oh, yeah, they need a
Yeah.
vibe shift, a talent shift, maybe a coaching shift. There's a lot that needs
Uh
to
oh.
to
Uh
improve.
oh. Did you go
Um,
there, Kevin? Did you go there?
there'll be plenty of places I go today on today's show, but we'll take that journey together. But I mean, yeah, you got to get a win on the board. Like that's where it starts. You
Yeah.
got to get a win on the board to at least generate some confidence about what the product is or what you're practicing on
Right.
a daily basis is something that actually can be executed on the floor. We just have not seen that. Obviously, the schedule that they have been playing, they played some really good teams over the last week and a half or so or now. So, but they've got to be able to start to figure it out because as much as they continue to say that the locker room is together from a player standpoint, you got to be able to start showing that on the floor, because I could tell you this fan base is not thrilled right now. A very impatient fan base, given the expectations that they thought they were going to have for this team coming into the year, and some of that is starting to bubble over, unfortunately, based on their play right now.
Yeah, you can see it, all over social. You can, they're still packing out, College Park Center, and they're still cheering them on. But it's like, yeah, okay, guys, as you said, Kevin, okay, we need a win. We need a win. Winning cures
Well,
everything.
it certainly does. And Dorothy, while we
Hmm.
have you, I do want to have a little bit of a coaching conversation, because a little bit before the show, the three of us were talking about this. And, a lot of the stars on this team come from very vocal and, I would almost argue, strict coaching. Whether it was with Gino Ariema, with Paige, Erika at Notre Dame, even Maisha Hines Allen up with Cheryl Reeves, they all come from very systemic coaching. And so I'm just curious, with the head coaching that the Wings have right now, do you think that it's going to be fixable with him? Because right now, to me, as an outsider who's now seen them play in person one time, it kind of feels like he is passive in a way. And I don't think that the players on his team maybe respond to passive coaching.
That's an interesting comment, or I guess analysis. I don't. Let me see. How can I be diplomatic? I don't know. Yeah, we know the coaches that they've had before. Rike has had, three, from Brian to LT. You mentioned Coach, Gino at UConn. Some of the other coaches, the other teams have had Kurt Miller. He was, Dejanay's coach. You know, and Ty. Oh gosh, the passivity you mentioned. Are they looking for a coach like what they're used to? Do they need a harder nosed coach? Do they need a no BS type coach? Who wouldn't? I mean, I guess. Um, I want to try to give Coach Clannis a little bit of grace, a little bit of mercy. People may say, well, he doesn't deserve it. Well, but we all do. He's new to the situation, new to coaching, head coaching, that is. And I think the expectations for him were really, really tough, really, really high coming into a team that has a lot going on, from the number one pick, a generational talent, a new, moving to Dallas, new facilities, new front office, just a lot of new, a lot of things going on, and everybody thinking that with all this stuff going on with the Wings, now they're finally going to ascend up the ranks of the WNBA ladder, and that's not happening. And he's right there in the center of the whole conversation as to why or why not it's not happening. So he has come in not just coaching, but coaching with all these other things added on. So that may be, handicapping him somewhat. um the coaching conversation is hard. You have 12 players, different mindsets, different attitudes, different backgrounds, different everything. And he's having to learn them. They're having to learn him. I danced around that pretty well. But
That
I'm
was
just saying,
expertly
I
done.
did as best as I could. Because, I mean, I don't, I'm a give a person a chancer kind of person, and I hope he figures it out for his sake. I hope he figures it out for his sake and for his job. Let me just say that.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, we all need someone to feel good about. So I hope it works out for everybody. I hope it works out for us most of all. I want to watch a winning team. I want to watch some good basketball. There's a lot going on for, like you
Right,
said, they got to figure it out. They got to stop figuring it in. They got to figure it out.
right,
Dorothy, you got anything else for us before
right.
we let you get out of here?
No, I'm just again pleased to join you guys. Make sure that you all stay locked in on DLLS Wings with the mayor, Erica, and Bobby and Kevin, and thank you guys for being a part.
Heck yeah.
Hey, Dorothy, I'm sorry I'm always putting you on the spot in this pod. You know, I'm always asking you the hard-hitting questions that really make your head
No,
scratch.
that's okay. That's okay. I love it. I love it. I do. Thank you guys.
Thank you,
Appreciate you,
Dorothy.
Dorothy.
Enjoy the rest of your day.
All right. Bye bye.
There she goes, the GOAT, Dorothy J. Gentry, bringing you the inside scoop from what's going on out in Arlington, soon to be Dallas. They got that stuff sorted out. The mayor, we got the mayor in town, and they figured it out. Erica helped the I don't know what city council or something. I don't know the zoning commission.
Well, whatever she did, she got him in line because that practice facility is coming in April of 26. So
yeah,
shout out to the mayor for making it happen. Good job,
Erica.
Good job.
I wanted to tell you guys actually, to Bobby's point earlier, that all these free agents, you guys are gonna have the newest, in theory, best, most up-to-date practice facility come April 2026. I'm not gonna say I'm just saying that, you should have a fair shot at attracting some really solid free agents. And listen, I'm not going to say anything too crazy about the Aces because, the Aces are the Aces. And, I don't need the team coming from my neck because just because they're losing on the court doesn't mean they won't beat me. You know what I'm saying? So, nonetheless, though, I don't put it past even, the Aces to completely blow up from the inside out in this upcoming offseason. So you could have chances that players you never even thought you had chances with, such as, but not limited to, Asia Wilson herself, is all I'm saying. So, there's a lot of optimism to be had, I feel like. I know, I just really sprinkled in some joy, huh? Like, ooh. But
Don't
I mean,
get
seriously,
me
like the
started.
selling
Don't
points
give
are
me any good
there.
ideas.
The selling points are there. So I just think, while it's going to be a really tough 34 games or 33 games, however many are left now, I think, for years to come, Dallas fans have so much to be excited about. And you could see that on the floor last night. Paige Bueckers isn't going anywhere. I don't know if you guys know this, but she's locked into a rookie contract here in Dallas. So unless Dallas decides to get rid of her, and we know that the Dallas front office is known to make some really foolish decisions, but God help us all. Please don't let them make this one.
Don't do it. Just don't do it. All right, we got to hit a break real quick.
I can't take up for them anymore.
Yeah, don't put more good things into the universe. All right, give them more good ideas. Don't give them any more bad ideas. All right, we never know who's watching and who's listening. All right, we got to hit this break real quick. But coming up on the other side of that, we're going to talk about we got some pictures of what went wrong in last night's game. We got some culture stuff. We got some chemistry stuff. We got more quotes that the Wings players gave Erika last night and the coaches gave Erika last night. So we're going to dive into a whole lot more right after this on the DLS Wings podcast.
But first, your future is bright. It's so bright that you need a pair of Shady Rays. Shady Rays gets you ready for the season ahead with quality shades built to last. Our friends at Shady Rays have you covered with premium polarized shades that won't break the bank. Of course, Shady Rays is an independent sunglasses company offering a world-class product rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people. Shades have durable frames and crystal clear optics, making them the perfect choice for all of your outdoor activities. Hundreds of options to choose from as well, so you're bound to find the perfect pair to match your style. They probably have a style in your team's favorite color, including the Dallas Wings, of course. Exclusively for our listeners here on the DLLS Wings podcast, Shady Rays is giving out their best deal of the season. That's right, their best deal of the season. Head to shadyrays.com and use code DLLS for 35% off polarized sunglasses. Try for yourself the shades rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people. Make sure you check out Shady Rays today.
If you love Frosties, and I'm excited to out myself as a Frosty enjoyer, we got some big news. There are all new Frosty Swirl and Frosty Fusion flavors you can get in either chocolate or vanilla. This is that same creamy treat you've always loved, and now with the flavor refresh. What are the new flavors, though? Well, thank you for asking. They've got the Frosty Swirls, okay, which is going to be strawberry brownie batter, which I've heard really good things about from Kat.
Yeah, the brownie batter is good.
And caramel. But they've also got thoroughly blended and mixed Frosty Fusions, and this is the Kevin Gray, Bobby Karalla territory, Oreo brownie.
That's my favorite. That's my favorite for sure.
Caramel crunch. Which,
had that one today.
How was it?
It was good.
Yeah?
Yeah.
And
a lot of caramel.
Strawberry Pop-Tart. And I've had, I think, 17
That's
of these
each one
in the
you
last
had there
day.
each time.
I know
That's
it's
right.
tough. But you can still give vanilla. Try them all to find your favorite. Anyway, whatever flavor you're craving, odds are we've got a Frosty for it. So clock in for sweet treat anytime, including midnight or later. With Wendy's all-new Frosty flavors, a refresh on a classic. It's got to be Wendy's. At participating U.S. Wendy's, hours may vary by location.
Man, y'all are making me jealous that you're eating Frosties right now, and it's like 110 degrees outside here. It's
They're
disgusting.
supposed to keep some of those at the PHNX office. I just want to give you a heads up. There should be some at PHNX. So whenever you go in tomorrow, demand a Frosty. I recommend the strawberry one. Elijah, okay, so we have some super chats from our loyal chatter, Classic Sting Lover. We can't pull them up because we had some tech issues. But two really interesting thoughts. One, $4.99, thoughts on the pool vid. Do we have a problem with players taking the season serious? I'll read the other one, and then we can come back to the pool one. And then with the $19.99 banger, Classic Sting Lover says, trade Erika, drives and D, collapses on her, rest of team stands around knowing she won't pass, like watching her, but better for 3v3. She was really good in Unrivaled.
Yeah.
Why can't anyone say anything negative about her? Give Luisa an extension if Paige wants her. So is the pool video, is that the one with Melissa and DeJournette talking about power forwards and everything goes through there?
And then Paige tells them, it's time for y'all to go to sleep. We got a game tomorrow. Go to bed.
I thought that that's the same, that's the video,
It's
right?
all, yeah.
I thought that was a really interesting point.
Can I say?
I thought Alyssa was cooking. I'm not going to lie.
She did. No, but I just want to say that in DeJournette and Alyssa's defense, it was like 8:15 when they were live on Instagram. And so while I do understand the sentiment behind certain folks' gripes about them being out and being so lax the night before a game, I also think it's important to understand that these are real people with real lives. And so the fact that they're out at 8:15 at night, if it was my team, it wouldn't bother me personally. I think, again, 8:15, your game's at 7 p.m. the next day. There is plenty. Your report time is not until I want to say 9 o'clock in the morning. So, I mean, I would think that professional athletes know how to set an alarm early in the morning. And so, if they can't, it's a double-edged sword, right? Because on one hand, it's like if you can't trust your team to go be responsible the night before a game, then yes, that is frustrating. But on the other hand, I think they're allowed to be people and have fun. And I don't think them being 1-9 before that clip really affects my feeling about them being allowed to go out and have fun while they're out, 8:15 at night the day before a game.
Yeah, I think it's more about perception versus reality, and the perception being the reality in the case that your team is now 1-10, and the night before you get dog walked by the Phoenix Mercury. You're out there, kiki and ha-ha at the pool, and Paige, your rookie, is telling you, hey, get back in here. It's time to go to sleep. Like, the video in and of itself is innocuous. It's not a big deal. But in the reality of your 1-9 start, now 1-10 start, it doesn't look great. Now, if they were 10-1 and the kicking it at the pool, hey, no harm, no foul, no problem. Go have fun, do your thing. When you're 1-10, doesn't look so great. Doesn't look so great.
No, we need to take it easy. We need to take it easy.
I'm just saying.
Some of the things I've seen
This is
on
what
the
they're
road
saying. This is what they're saying
in the men's NBA are things that I can't talk about.
Yeah, for sure. Like,
so it's
Right.
it just is. It is what it is.
Yeah, I don't think the video is a big deal. I personally didn't think it was. I'm just saying about the perception versus the reality of what their situation looks
Yeah,
like.
I
didn't
think
think it was all that
Paige is
big.
joking anyway, but
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I think Jack in the chat makes a good point about Melissa. I said Melissa was cooking with the point she made, and Jack said she was cooking the way every player cooks her.
It was kind of
that's tough
because at the end of the video, because she was like, "Look, I'm trying out here," and look, I didn't say this like on social media or anything, but in my mind, I was listening and watching. I was like, "Well, this is not about trying. Like, you playing against some of the best fours in the league between Asia and NECA, and obviously
it is every team's power forward is like a freaking Hall of Famer.
Yeah, like Nafisa, like you got probably the MVP of the league right now. Like, yeah, the fours in this league are insane.
And like choose your fighter last, whether it's Alyssa Thomas or Satu, depends on the weather.
Exactly.
Like, good God, there's so many good fours.
But at the same time, you are making some good money to be a little bit better versus the players that you're playing against. And we would like to see just a little bit better on the defensive end, because if we are to believe that one of the reasons why we thought this team was a win now team was bringing the list in, bringing Maisha in, and bringing some of the players that they brought in, it has not been great on that end of the floor. And more so than trying, she got to be better, because right now, as the folks said in the chat, she's getting cooked right now, and we want to see better on the floor. That's all.
What do you think about what do you think about Erika, Erica? Now I'm putting you on the spot. How do they fix this?
Man, Enrique. See, it's frustrating because her game is iso ball, right? So you don't really want her to stop doing what she's good at, but in order for the team to have success, she can't do that. So it is I don't envy the Dallas Wings coaching staff for having to be the ones that are trying to make this work, because Paige is one of the most unselfish players in women's basketball, period. And so, you can put her alongside almost any player and have her be successful and also the players around her be successful. And I think here in this system, it's not working with the both of them. And I don't I agree with what Dorothy was saying last week, that Enrique is the Dallas Wings. And so I personally don't think that it's in the Dallas Wings' best interest to move on from Enrique. I think Enrique embodies the Dallas Wings. And I think when you have a player that has been your franchise player and you're pulling in a player like Paige Bueckers, it kind of goes against what everything they were trying to build for the last season and a half has been, if you're just going to part ways and get rid of the whole idea in the first place. So I understand why Wings fans are so frustrated with Enrique, but I think to my previous points in the last 3 episodes, Erika is still trying to find herself in a new system. As I just said, Enrique's game is iso ball. She goes out, she dribbles herself, and she finds her own shot. She doesn't need anybody else to make her wide open. She does it. And so, I don't think it's time to move on from Enrique. I personally think that, and I'm not going to come out, I will never come out and say fire this, that, or the other, because we're talking about, again, real people's jobs here. And there's a reason I'm not in the front office and making those decisions. But at the same time, I think that there is a solution to this problem, and we just haven't found it yet. And that the coaching staff, it's their job to find it, and they're not doing that. And so I think, again, I have a lot of empathy for them, because they had 3 games without Paige, right? Where everything they've been working so hard to establish then gets undone. And now they have to reset the momentum. And now you're losing players to Eurobasket. It becomes a lot harder to keep any chemistry that you maybe had, even if the players that are leaving for Eurobasket aren't necessarily the most key players in your offense. It does make it harder when you've established chemistry with those people on the floor, and now there they go off to Belgium and Germany. And so, it does makes their job a lot harder. So I definitely think that Enrique will come around. I actually think the biggest puzzle piece in all of this is actually Dijonay. And my reasoning for that is because Dijonay was brought in, at least in my opinion, to be the defensive powerhouse and backing of the team. And she's kind of failed to do that in this year. I don't think that she's been the same click it or ticket herself that she's been for the last season and a half. And so I personally think that the solution to all of the Dallas Wings issues lies in Dijonay and her, willingness to make extra passes, because I saw Dijonay take a lot of shots that she shouldn't have taken last night. And so, Dijonay's willingness to work hard for other people and to defend is the most important aspects of this team's game that are missing for me right now. And, so I understand everybody's complaints about Enrique, but I think the problems are a lot bigger than everyone's kind of leading on.
And to the point when it comes to, us discussing, Erika, I mean, she's one of the most polarizing players, in the league. I mean, when she's on, there is no more electrifying player in the league than Erika Ngumawale. I mean, the clearance she gets on her step back 3-pointer is phenomenal. And when she's going, I mean, you saw the 37.
It changes like the whole atmosphere of the game.
Yeah, the whole feel of the game just takes a dramatic shift because she is that good offensively when she's on. I mean, the 37-point game that she had against Chicago, she was lighting up from every area of the floor, and that's the very best of Erika. But I'm gonna give you.
I feel like we're about to get to the part where you say "but."
I mean, well, we're here. I said we were gonna go on a journey, and we're taking those steps right now. I'm gonna give you two numbers. Number one, the first number is 40. Okay, hold that in your mind. 40. So she's in year 7 of her career. She has shot 40% or better twice in her career. The last time she shot 40% was 2022. It's been almost 3 full seasons since she has shot better, at least 40% from the field. That's number one. The next number I'll give you is 50. Since that 37-point game that she had against Chicago in a 5-point loss, what was 97-92, Erika has missed 50 of her last 71 shots that she's taken. Now you say, Kevin, of course, she's been dealing with a lot more in terms of double teams. Teams are hedging. Teams are trying to get the ball out of her hand. They're blitzing her because Paige was gone. And obviously she was the number one offensive option. So teams are making it a lot more difficult for her offensively. No harm, no foul. Understood there. Paige came back last night, and you're trying to obviously develop rhythm to get each other back on the floor on the same page. At one point last night, Erika was 0 of 7 from the field with 4 fouls and completely was MIA in the game. And for someone who has had this type of talent, to me, personally, that's inexcusable for someone who is relied upon. So, but a team that doesn't have a lot of offense already, the kinds of numbers that she's had throughout the course of the year, she's shooting 30% from the field, which is nearly 4 percentage points worse than the worst season she's had in terms of her shooting career. So, or shooting percentage as far as the career is concerned from the field. So, yeah, defensively, there's a lot of issues. Offensively, the best player creatively in terms of their shot making has not been there at all. And I don't know when that gets turned around, because if it doesn't, August 20th is not that far away. And I might be ready to go ahead and make that move. She's on an expiring contract. She's on a max deal. It's in the final year of her contract. If things don't turn around, the regression has been so deep for me, at least, that yeah, you might want to consider Kurt Miller potentially moving on from, yes, the franchise's face, but guess what? You do have a new one now in Paige Bueckers, and I think everything from here on out should be built and geared toward how do you make 5, the focal point of your basketball team, given the skill set that she has.
Classic Sting Lover chimes in with a couple more. $1.99. I can say positive things too, I promise. Much respect. Another $1.99. Didn't know it was only 8:15. Erika, what time does it get dark in Arizona this time of year? Does it get dark earlier?
8:30.
Yeah.
No, it was still like a little bit of dusk out when they were live. And I only know that because I went to see if I could ask my own questions in the live stream. You know what I mean? So,
Did they leave you on
I
red?
went. They did. And, Dejanay, I'm not going to say that that's why y'all lost, but
Trade them both.
all I'm going to say is maybe if you'd answered that question, you could have come out on top, maybe.
You ignore the mayor, you get what's coming, all right? And then another classic Sting Lover problem is, and you mentioned Erika's contract. Problem is Erika's on a max contract. She hasn't been producing enough. Paige is the wings now. It's tough. Yeah, it's tough. I mean,
and this is not to downgrade. Yeah, this is not to denigrate or to downplay what Erika has meant for this franchise in the 6 years that she has been here. She has been a face of the franchise. She's been a community. She's been all of these things for this franchise that you want her to be. But at the same time, there needs to be a winning product on the floor. And I don't know going forward if she can be part of a team that can win a championship with her being, this type of player. She's always going to be an interesting shot taker, to put it lightly. But
you don't want to build your whole house on that.
Exactly.
You need some sort of stable foundation.
Yeah, and I do want to see how they continue to figure things out. By the time it gets to late August, but at the same time, she's got to turn it around quickly. But to the point, and we're seeing some in the chat, it would feel very weird if Erika was not in a Dallas Wings uniform. But at the same time, there have been tremendous players who have come through this franchise who are no longer part of this team either. I know they're not Erika at the same time, but you've got the juice in 5. The quicker you can start to build around her and accentuate the strengths that she has as a player, I think the better for this franchise to give them the kind of direction that they need.
Okay, well, I'm putting both of you guys on the spot then. And I don't really like talking about this sort of thing, but If you're the Wings organization right now, are you tanking for draft picks, or are you continuing to try to get some wins? Because I personally don't think they need to tank, and I think it's bad for team culture. I saw someone talking about it in the comments that it's just not good optics to tank, and especially when you're going to be trying to attract free agents to your team, you want your team culture to be something that is attractive. So, I mean, at this point in the season, 1-10, definitely not where everyone thought they'd be, but I don't know that it's going to improve that much either. So, if you guys are the Dallas Wings, what are you doing?
The issue, I think, is if you are prioritizing draft positioning over trying to win, but your team is full of vets that want to win, there's going to be a lot of problems. And tensions ran high last night in Game 11. Imagine Game 21, Game 31, all the way to Game 44. That is where things could get a little thorny, and at the same time, I also I've never really been into in any sport. I guess baseball being the exception, because like baseball, you have like 1,000 minor league players, so like nothing really seems to matter in baseball ever. But like you create an atmosphere, you create a roster situation where you're so bad that by the time you get enough players to win again, like all of the players that you drafted are also fed up with it and they want out or they're old or whatever, like it's really tough. I don't know that I just agree with let's just get everyone up on out of here. But again, like 80% of the team's a free agent this summer anyway. So it's just everything is just weird. I like this particular season is such a weird time to be making any big decisions one way or the other, because so much is going to change, like in a good way, hopefully, but so much is going to change for the whole league in like 6 months.
And quite frankly, this team is not good enough to where they have to purposely tank. I mean, the organic tank is on in my mind right now, like based off of what we've seen through the first 11 games.
Oh, maybe I got some pictures.
Oh man, you're gonna illustrate how bad it's been?
I can.
Yeah.
Oh,
wow.
Do we want to get to that, or do we want to
Okay.
get to press conference stuff? It feels like we got a lot of stuff from last.
We got
night.
a lot of stuff.
I know. Why don't we start with your stuff, Bobby, and then we'll play some clips.
Okay. All right. We'll burn through these pretty quick. So I got a couple defensive miscues and one offensive. So we got them. Is Ecamm functioning? All right. Here we go. Defensive breakdowns. I chalk this up to bad communication. It comes across as disorganized. You got a simple screen and roll. Hey, what are we doing here, team? Are we going to show? Are we going to switch? What are we going to do? As we go to this next play, Dejanay's sticking her arm out. She's going to show on this, kind of. She's going to sort of be like, all right, I got you until Maisha gets back. I'm just sort of hanging out. But the problem is Maisha never gets back and Dejanay leaves, and what was kind of a nothing burger just becomes an uncontested layup. This is,
That's Alyssa Thomas.
it's 5 minutes into the game.
That's AT.
Like, it's not a fast break. This is, it's not 3 seconds into the shot clock. This is just a very, very simple defensive breakdown based on miscommunication involving, one of the best players in the league.
Alyssa Thomas.
Yeah, not great. Now, okay, maybe that's a rare thing, but how about like the next time down the floor?
Oh,
what
geez.
happened then? We got play 2, Elijah. Here we go. All right. So we got right wing now, not the left wing. I believe this is Satu with the ball. Hey,
It is.
We know Satu.
Yep.
She's pretty good, right?
Yeah, we've heard of her.
Okay, so we got Satu, and Satu's lefty, so she's going to be coming off the screen going to her left. Are we doubling? Are we switching? What are we doing? Oh, we're kind of not doing anything. And so can we go back to the previous play? Or the previous picture? So Dejanay is going to come all the way across the floor to prevent what otherwise would have been a layup and force a 15-footer. But the problem is off screen, Dejanay is guarding someone that's in the corner, and the Mercury spaced the floor so well. Like, they got 4 shooters all beyond the 3-point line. Now, Alyssa Thomas might not, let it rip from 40 feet.
Right.
But, like, they could all pass, dribble, shoot, right? So you have to keep in mind where everyone is. Not just who you're guarding, where everyone is, because you got to rotate. But the problem is whenever you go up against a team with such good spacing, Dejanay's covering 30, 40 feet of floor, so she can't get all the way over there anyway. So as we go to this next clip, it is just basically an open jumper. Like, she at least prevents the layup, but like if she sells out too much, then it's just tic-tac-toe, wide open shooter in the corner. You see there's one Mercury player saying, hey, you got this easy pass also if you want it. Like, it's just, you're spoiled for choice. And that speaks to me, that suggests disorganization, not really, I don't know, this is so parasocial, but like, it doesn't feel like they're prepared. It doesn't feel like they know what they're doing. They're either that or they're not talking. Coaches could be saying, hey, this is exactly what I want you to do, and then the players aren't executing, but something is going on. And then just one offensive play that made me really sad. Here's Paige. Now, okay, this is really important. The way the wings are spacing the floor, you got Erika in the left corner, and then you got Shooter on the wing, you got Shooter on the weak side corner, and then you got screen coming up to send Paige right. Now, Alyssa Thomas is guarding the screener, and then you have help at the nail. So if Paige takes this screen, she's going to be dribbling into two defenders, and one of them is Alyssa Thomas, who basically, like, by herself counts as kind of like four defenders.
Pretty much.
So it's like you're dribbling into like a quintuple team. So what I would like to see Paige do is reject the screen, but what she does is she comes off the screen, and then Alyssa blitzes, and then, oh my God, she's way off. Are we able to get it over? Can you, like, drag it? Paige is turning her back to the rim, dribbling toward midcourt. You don't do that.
You can't do that.
You're going the wrong way. This turns into a turnover. And that is partly Paige, that's partly coaching, that's partly way to space the floor, that's partly rhythm of the game. Like, this kind of thing is like reps, learning to diagnose coverages, say, hey, this is probably dangerous. Maybe whoever Alyssa Thomas is guarding, we should send as far away from me as possible. Like, there's kind of some stuff to work through. And with all this stuff, it's like, it's unclear. Is this coaching? Is this players? Is this just inexperience? Is it just a, once in a lifetime event? But there was just a lot of sadness. That was just a few examples of my sadness.
And you noticed on the floor, there was only one competent shooter out there. I mean, you had Erika over in the left corner. So, of course, all the attention is about to go toward Paige. And, oh, by the way, that's an all, W defender and Alyssa Thomas blitzing you. So, welcome to the league, Rook. There's Paige trying to figure out, where do I go with this ball? And there comes, Alyssa Thomas, and it takes it and then goes back on the other end. But on the floor, you got Maddie in one corner. You got, Kalia Charles out there, as well. You got Erika in the left corner. There's
space on the floor.
Yes.
But it's just like, when that's the difference between, Alyssa Thomas and most mere mortals is that most players aren't going to be able to just be like, surprise,
exactly,
and then, send you running for your life. But like, these are things that, as there are some players that are like Alyssa Thomas, that, whenever you're going into these games, it's your first time going up against someone like that. You're going to learn a lot. And Stephanie in the chat says, I'm sure Paige has already looked at the film. Absolutely. I'm sure Paige has probably saw that play in her nightmares like 100 times last night. But all of these are lessons, right? These are reps. But then these offensive miscues combined with a lot of defensive just lack of communication, lack of execution is just like, this kind of stuff is like game 2 or game 3, like I expect. But game 11 is like, it shouldn't be happening this often.
Well, and actually, this is a great segue, and I'm sorry, Elijah, we're going to play these clips a little bit out of order because Luisa has an excellent clip where she's talking about how the Dallas Wings didn't really stick to the game plan, and so I feel like we should start there.
I think we started pretty good. We had a first good quarter, but then I think, like, I don't know, like, our defense needs to be more aggressive, needs to be tougher. We had our game plan. We didn't really stick to it. This needs to be better. That's discipline. And then in offense, it's just like playing with the flow, moving the ball, which I think we're getting better at. I mean, it's helping that piece back. But I think there's room to improve for sure. And it's just like really getting over this hump. Like, we're always close, but then we go back down. We're never getting actually over this hump and ride the wave.
Luisa falling victim to the old Mark Stein curse of, I'm just talking way back here, guys. Like, y'all are just going to have to deal with it.
And also, what was Paige watching? She was thoroughly engrossed in something that was up there, because as she's talking, Paige is like, I don't know, what is she, was you watching a TV or something there? What was going on in there?
Funny enough is she was looking at a box score as if she did not have the box score right in front of her. So I don't know if maybe
Ah,
she was checking to make sure that it was correct, or I was telling to everybody this morning because everyone's floating that clip around because she is checked out. She is just it is so funny. I want to joke that she was looking at me, but unfortunately she was looking at the box score.
okay. I will say real quick that comment from Luisa last night was kind of concerning because Bobby astutely showed some of the things that went wrong defensively and offensively, but also simple game planning tells you Phoenix loves to get up threes. They take nearly 30 threes a game, and they love to get up a bunch of 3-pointers. And last night they got up 35 and made 15 of them. And unfortunately, Dallas has been one of the worst teams this season in guarding the three. They're giving up nearly 39% from downtown. So basic game plan tells you got to go guard them on the 3-point line, because if you don't, they're going to bury you from there. And last night they were particularly on making 15 of 35 from downtown. And that to me was one of the biggest differences of the game, is that, Dallas made 5 threes versus the 15 that Phoenix made. I mean, there's your difference in your ball game right there. But that comes down to simply executing part of what is on the scouting report when it comes to the Mercury, is that they love to bomb from 3, and they lived by the 3 last night, did Phoenix, against Dallas.
They literally call the mid range here in Phoenix the manure strip. So, they want those 3-point shots, and Dallas was at will giving them to them. So it was definitely it was sight for sore eyes, I have to say. I was talking about the Wings on my last PHNX Mercury podcast, and I'm like, yeah, defensively from 3, I fear the Mercury are going to get the job done. So I'm glad that it proved that I was a ball knower, but definitely not exactly what I wanted to see. Especially, and to your point, Kevin, all 5 of the threes coming from the same person. We have an embarrassment of riches here in Phoenix. Literally an embarrassment of riches from the 3-point line. And I'm not going to say that Dallas is not capable of making 3-point shots. So, it's definitely got to be a little bit of a more balanced attack on their end. And, that clip of Luisa was, I definitely think, probably the most pessimistic thing I think we've seen out of the Wings locker room this year. But then on the flip side of it, you got Chris Koklanis talking pretty optimistically at the top of the press conference. So why don't we go ahead and play that clip real quick as well?
Credit our fight and just willingness to not lay over. It's a bit of resilience there. And then, Paige had a really good game, kept us in it a lot. These 2 up here just, continue to give great effort and energy, and keep our group together out there and keep us moving in the right direction. So gonna try to take as many positives as we can out of every game.
And what positives were there to take, it feels like?
Paige dropped 35.
It's just so tough. It's really tough. Like, if, this is kind of jumping to conclusions here, but like, if your team stinks and everyone knows that you're kind of bad and no one's really happy, you can either like sit in it, or you can try and maybe smile your way out of it, and just say like, look, we did some things right. Like, we're there, we're right there. They have been smoked a few times this year, but a lot of their losses have come down to, hey, you're down 2 points in the 4th quarter, and then you kind of, you drop the ball a little bit in crunch time. Last night was not one of those games, but, that's been the case for them this season. They don't have to be 1-10. They could be 4 and whatever, or 5 and whatever. But I don't know. I think eventually looking for positives, searching for positives and losses will kind of fall on deaf ears. But it's so early in the season to just like abandon hope. I don't know. It's just it's so tough. Tough.
And Luisa was good last night. I mean, that was another positive for me. I mean, she's got versatility. She's willing to go crash the boards. You see a little bit in terms of her mid-range game.
She's about to hop on an airplane.
And again, there's the flip side of that. As soon as you start to see her kind of gain some confidence and some rhythm, oh, by the way, here comes Eurobasket, and she's about to hop on a plane overseas to go play, for her country. So every time it seems like you see something positive for this team, when Tierra started to get some more minutes and started to play pretty well. Oh, by the way, she's about to go play Eurobasket. She's going to be gone for a month. So it just feels like it's just been a lot of take 1 step forward, take 2 steps back, take a step forward, take another step back. There has just really been that kind of consistency so far this season that you would want, especially given the roster that they have and having a rookie head coach to try to manage all of this as well.
I want to leave the chat with a little bit of optimism. Our show is almost done. We had a little bit of technical difficulties getting started today, so I want to leave things off on a positive note. I truly, truly believe that the Dallas Wings have a chance to beat the Las Vegas Aces tomorrow. The Las Vegas Aces
Ooh.
are probably one of the trying to find a good word for it. I want to say messiest teams in the leagues right now, but I don't mean that in like the girly way that I would normally mean it. I mean it as in they literally cannot figure out, as everything that we've said on this Wings pod, I feel like you almost could just apply that to the Aces as well, and that they just haven't been able to figure it out. And I feel like if there's any like game in the Wings' little upcoming schedule here that they could steal by just having one player do really, really well and everyone else just doing a little bit, it's this game versus the Aces. The Aces have really struggled defensively as well as quite honestly offensively as well. Chelsea Gray and Asia Wilson seem to be the only players that showed up to play basketball for them this season, and everyone else is still somewhere in Cancun. And, as much fun as the Aces have been for the last 2 seasons, this is just a completely different Aces team. And so I think the Dallas Wings have as much chance as anybody to walk into their trap and, walk out of their trap with a dub. So, I don't think that there's all this reason for pessimism. I do think that the Wings unfortunately take a big L to the Valkyries, because the Valkyries are just no joke defensively. And when you're playing a team like that and you've struggled offensively the way the Wings have, I think it becomes really tough to win those games. But I think the Aces game might surprise a lot of people.
We'll see who's guarding Asia Wilson.
That's if Asia Wilson plays. I mean, she left last night's game.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
exactly.
She left last night's game with a head injury, so who knows if she'll be available for tomorrow night. If she's not, then the Wings have a much better chance to win tomorrow night's game.
And then all Melissa has to do is go out and guard Kia Stokes, who I saw didn't score a point till like the Aces' 7th or 8th game of the season. So, I'm not going to say I'm not
give
stressed,
bulletin board
but
material. What are you doing?
Hey, Kia, score some points, girl. Asia needs help, okay? Asia needs help. As much as Paige needs help, Asia needs it too.
Yeah, the Aces got to figure out. They got a Jewel Lloyd issue right now. They don't know if they need to have her coming off the bench.
Maybe.
Yeah, she might have to
theorize.
Yeah, so
Jewel for Erika, equal trade.
Ooh, I don't know if Jewel has not been great this year. Like, it has not worked out.
It could be systemic, though. It just the way that this one is. So, you flip it maybe in different systems, then everyone works out much better. Who knows? I don't know. I think it could be a fun time. And Jewel with Paige sounds like a word I can't even say on the show. I might get kicked out of ALLCITY Network if I say it.
Please don't demonetize our channel.
Very,
we
very
are a
good stuff
family-friendly program.
I will say the Aces getting dog walked by the Golden State Valkyries was by far the most surprising loss of the season. Like, no one saw that beat down coming at the hands of Golden State. The way that they beat them down. What was it? 95-68. Yeah, it was.
Well,
yeah.
And then last night they took a loss to the Sparks, who I'm sorry, but they're not a good basketball team either. And so, letting the Sparks walk into your own house and take the victory is definitely,
Could never happen to the Wings.
I'm about to say, don't tell Dallas that. Don't tell Dallas that. Rakia went off for 30 last night, though. She was excellent. She was excellent last night.
And 14 in the first quarter. Yeah, Rakia is that girl. Yeah.
Yeah, she was great last night.
Nonetheless, though, I think it could be a fun game for Wings fans. So I think keep your eyes peeled. To Bobby's point, don't lose all hope is all I can say.
Keep hope alive.
I'd say throw some in a shoebox and bury hope underground. Bury a little hope underground just for safekeeping.
Like only a foot or two down there, and not like 6 feet.
It's not way down. It's not way down. It's not surviving a nuclear winter. You just need, it's a couple weeks or more.
Yeah.
Ooh, Ray Jack Wynn says Jewel Lloyd feels like Bradley Beal right now. Yikes.
That's tough.
Woo, that's tough.
That's
tough.
That's big.
Now
that
I
makes
feel
me
like shots
sad.
are being thrown at my way, so I'm gonna need you guys to calm down around
We need
here.
something to feel good about, all
Y'all
right?
don't
And
want
making
Bradley
fun
Beal
of Phoenix
either.
makes us feel good.
And y'all don't want Bradley Beal either in Phoenix. Quit playing. Y'all don't want him either.
Don't I know it? Don't I know it? Is there anything we didn't get to today? Those clips of Paige are floating around on our social, DLLS_wings on Twitter, so you can check out Paige talking to me at yesterday's game all over our Twitter. But anything else I forgot to get to today?
I think we got into everything that we could. It was a good show. Fast moving.
We started
show.
that Erika August 20th trade journey. We started that today. So mission accomplished on my end today.
Do we need to put get a graphic with Erika in a car and it's moving down a road?
No, maybe it'll work out. Maybe it'll work out. Maybe.
Well, guys,
could be a frosty take in
DLLS.
2 months.
That one might be pretty melted by the time we get to August 20th. Let's just say that.
Oh man. Okay. Well, before we get any other crazy takes in here, let's get out of here. It's been the DLLS Wings podcast. You can follow us on Twitter together at DLLS_wings, where you can catch me, Elijah, sometimes Bobby, sometimes KG. You never know who's going to be blasting the tweets off from that Twitterverse over there. You can follow Kevin. I don't know either of your guys' @, so I'm going to need you to give those.
Oh my God, there they are.
Oh, they are right there.
Oh, thank goodness. Kevin Gray Sports and Bobby Karalla. Sorry, the text is very tiny on my phone.
Please clip that, Elijah. Please clip that. Her walking and face first up to the complete. Yes, please clip that.
Elijah, not too much on the mayor now. Watch it, okay? I make rules around here, okay? But you can follow me at Erika Lee Day, and we will be back with you guys on a day next week, maybe with a special guest. So keep your eyes peeled on the Twitterverses for that. And I know Dorothy is a special guest, but we might have an even more special guest. So keep your eyes peeled for that, and we will be back with you guys next week.
We all silly like the mayor.